Good morning, hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to my booktube channel, everybody. My name is Kat, and it is lovely to have you here. Today, I am going to be reading, or not today, this week, I would say. I'm going to be reading a very popular book on BookTok right now, and I'm super excited for it because I haven't hopped on a BookTok book trend, if you will, in quite a while, and I'm excited to kind of take the journey with everybody else. So if you haven't figured it out by the title of this video or the thumbnail, I'm going to be reading The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, which has been compared to ACOTAR, but I've heard is nothing like ACOTAR, so not sure. But we know everybody loves ACOTAR, we know I love ACOTAR, so I'm hopeful about it. So kind of a synopsis of the book is it has to do with vampires, humans, hunting, a lot of politics, war, things like that. All the things I love in a good old fantasy book. From what I understand and what I've read, the premise of the book is that there's a girl, Araya, who is human, and she was adopted by the vampire king. And because she's human, she definitely doesn't fit in with the vampires, but she also doesn't fit in with the humans because she was raised with vampires. So she ends up entering this tournament because she wants to become a vampire, and that's the only way that she can get transformed, I guess. And throughout the competition, she meets a rival, and there's a love interest, and overall it sounds more like Throne of Glass to me, but I don't know. I'm still working my way through Throne of Glass, by the way. I don't know if I'll ever finish that series, but I am doing my darndest. So last night I did actually begin reading it, and I got to page 18 because I fell asleep and it was late at night. I was trying to start a new book, but it wasn't a good time. So I've only read the intro to the book, and I'm now kind of on the first chapter. So far, it seems good, I guess. I feel like I can't really judge it off of 18 pages. I'm going to continue reading it today. It's about 530 pages, so she's a little hefty, but I know I can make my way through it in probably about a week, as long as I stick to my reading schedule. So this is gonna be spoiler-free. If I decide to include any spoilers, I'm gonna flash this across the screen so you guys know that you can skip the portion of the video if you haven't read it yet. But I'm gonna do my best to make it spoiler free while still making it an entertaining reading vlog with my genuine reaction to things. So let's go ahead and jump into things. I'm about 20% through the book. I'm on page 122, and so far I am really enjoying this book. It is very captivating from the moment you start. There's not a dull moment. You get the backstory and the world building very smoothly throughout the story. You don't feel like you're just getting a chunk of world building at the beginning that you kind of have to suffer through. It's very like woven into the story, which is something that I often complain about in fantasy, is the world building and how long it can take and how dense it can be. But this is very digestible, it's easy to read. And we met the love interest pretty early on. I mean, obviously he's not a love interest yet, but I know that that is what the purpose his character serves. And I can see how people find it similar to ACOTAR in some of the scenes that are happening and some of the things that are occurring with the love interest. I can understand that. So it's not like ACOTAR in plot, but there are plot points that are similar to ACOTAR, especially regarding the love interest, at least thus far. but I really like it so far. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm going to keep reading. Okay, I know I look really rough, but I did want to give a bit of an update. I'm on page 300. I am 56% of the way done with The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and I am still loving this book so much. It is so good. I'm still seeing all of the similarities to ACOTAR that I've heard people talk about. It is very different, but it's almost just in the way the love interest is described that it feels very Sarah J. Maas, but it's so much smoother to read than Crescent City or The Road of Glass. I mean, ACOTAR is pretty like smooth to read if you ask me, but specifically it's similar to ACOTAR in that way. And we're on the 4th trial of the 5 or 6 that I know are going to take place in the book. And things with the love interest are like picking up, but they're really just becoming more of allies than they are like romantically involved right now. So I'm interested to see when that will finally like kind of pick up or like start, if it does ever, which to be honest, I don't know if I'd mind if they left it as just an ally type thing, but the problem is they can't stay allies because there's only one winner. It's very like Hunger Games-esque in that way. So I am curious as to how that is going to work out, because obviously I feel like we can all kind of assume that we're not going to kill off one of the main characters. So okay, so we found out that Araya, who is the main character, potentially has power, even though, like, we found this out a while ago, that even though she's human, she does potentially have power, but she hasn't been able to use it. And she just now is able to start using it again. Or, like, she used it once and then, like, couldn't figure it out again, but now she's starting to, like, be able to. We're also getting hints about, like, old lovers of hers and the love interests. And it's, like, starting to be used against them, or, like, there's, like, flashbacks. And I will say, they're definitely, I haven't seen one yet, but trigger warning for so far a very, very small portion of the book. Hey guys, just checking in. So I have about 100 pages left. I'm 80% of the way done, and I'm gonna put on some background music, and I'm gonna finish up the rest of The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Just in case, also, you guys are picking up this book for the romance aspect. Sorry, my cat's going crazy with the blinds. Just so you guys know, we're not getting any action until 80% into the book. No words for what just happened. I am so confused right now. Like, this just took the weirdest turn and I'm so confused. It is very late right now, and it is about a day after I finished The Serpent and Wings of Night, and my cat is going crazy, but I want to wrap up this video and talk about my final thoughts. Overall, I rated this book 5 stars. I finished it in 3 days and I adored it. The plot was amazing. It was well done. It was well executed. It was paced. The plot was paced and like everything was timed beautifully. I think Carissa Broadbent is just like, the way she did it was just amazing. And the ending of the book is, I did not see it coming. Like, there were parts of me that were like, okay, people say it's similar to ACOTAR, so like I know what's gonna happen here, but the very end portion, like our final 10-15 pages, I could have never ever guessed would happen, and it really threw me for a loop. Sets you up perfectly to read the sequel. However, I'm a sequel hater. I hate reading sequels. I'm not a series girl. I like one book, which I know a lot of people probably don't agree with, and I probably will read the next book, but I'm gonna take a break and read some other things first, just because that's how I am, that's how I've always been, that's how I probably always will be. But the end of the book does set you up perfectly for wanting to jump right into the sequel. So I suggest, if you are a fan of series, have that handy for when you finish the book, because you're gonna want to keep reading. One of my other favorite parts of this book was the way the romance was done. I expected a fantasy romance. I thought that that was going to be one of the main characteristics of the book, but the romance was really kind of a side plot, while also being like a main focus. And going into the sequel, you can tell it's going to be one of the primary focuses, but the Hunger Games-esque aspect really takes the forefront with it, and the romance is more of like a friendship that becomes more, and you see it develop. I know I mentioned earlier in the vlog that you don't see any real like romance until about 80% of the book is done, and it actually was done very well that way. Like, I think I believed it. It wasn't just like, oh, it's this hot vampire. Like, typically it's like, oh, look at this Fae man, he's so strong. And it wasn't like that. It had like, it felt genuine and authentic, and like you actually watched them like form a bond and build a bond that meant something. So when the romance did happen, and when the end of the book happened, I'm not going to spoil it, but when the end happened, you're like, there's no way. There's just no way that that just happened. So overall, I highly recommend this book. I know that since beginning this vlog, I've seen a few mixed reviews, but I loved it. I highly recommend it to any fans of fantasy, fans of Sarah J. Maas, and to people who want to really read like a high fantasy without that chunky world building, because this book gives you the world building, but it's smooth, it's digestible, and you don't have to sit there and force your way through pages and pages of telling me how the world works, how the political system is, like all of that. It's just explained in like the simplest way ever. It just makes sense. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe down below, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye!